Hello, it's your girl Tina, and I'm back again today to share with you how to stay safe and also to get paid but stay alive. The truth is that as realtors, we show houses to strangers, and as good as we think the world is, there's not always 100% great people out there, and you could come across someone that has bad intentions, and it's always best to put systems in place to protect yourself. So I'm going to give a few tips, and you just go with what you feel comfortable with. I always say have some sort of protection with you if you do show a house, but most importantly, I think that you should do your research on your clients that you're meeting with. They're doing research on you as realtors. Best believe they're going to Google and they're looking you up. They're seeing what kind of track records you have. They're seeing, what sales you have done before. They're looking at your reviews. They're looking at your social media to see what kind of person you are. They're looking to see if they can trust you. So look to see if you can trust them. They should, at the very least, have a pre-approval if you're going to show a house. A lot of sellers will definitely want that in today's market. They want to know that if you're going to see a house, especially if it's in the luxury market, that the person that's coming into their home is at least ready and able to buy. Secondly, you should be getting an ID from them. I work for Divvy, so that's a rent-to-own program. I also do traditional sales, but through that program, my company already does a background check. They already check their license, they have their ID, their social security, they have information about their bank account. So I do feel safe when I go out with my clients that have already been pre-approved through my company. But when I work with traditional buyers or sellers, I don't know who they are. So it's my responsibility to do my own research. So one, if I haven't met them, I'm going to meet them in a public place, or at the very least do a consultation online. But I prefer that you would meet the person for the first time in a public place. Make sure that you have their ID, like I said, and then take an account of basically what they look like. Sometimes we don't pay attention to what people have on, what their eye color is. I would even take a picture of their license plate. If you can see them pull up, get there early, meet at a Starbucks or a mutual place by the house, and make sure that you have, a good description of their car, color, what they are wearing, their facial features, and all of that. So that's just the first tips I have about safety at the very least. Secondly, I would say share your location. If you are meeting someone at a house, it's great if you can share your location with a family, a friend, or your broker. I think it's important for your broker or at least a fellow realtor in your office to know where you are, or someone to know where you are at all times. And I know it's kind of old school to pick up your clients and have them in your car, but if they're not a family or friend, I would say do not, for liability reasons and for safety reasons, do not pick up anyone in your car. You can meet them there. If they can't get there, you could send them an Uber, but I would not have anyone in your car. If you are ever in an emergency situation, I would set up your phone so that it is set to an emergency. You could actually press down the volume button and the start key at the same time and hold it down, and that little star asterisk comes up, and also you can slide the SOS to the right, I believe. You have to set the settings up in your phone before, but that setting allows you to contact 911 and emergency will come out. But you have to set it up before so that it's ready to go in an event there is an emergency. I don't know what your state laws are. Here in Georgia, where I am, you really don't have to have a conceal and carry license to carry a gun. and that's frightening. So anyone can carry a gun. So if you're going to carry a gun, just make sure that you check your state laws. If you have to have, a license to carry, please do so. What else can I tell you? If you are going to be carrying a gun, I would say make sure that you know how to use the gun, because it can easily be taken from you if you don't know what you're doing, if you feel nervous about using a gun. Practice at least every month. I would say every week. If you're going to be using a gun or carrying a gun, that you know how to hold it, you know how to remove the bullets, you know how to put the bullets in, you know how to target at your target, you know how to feel comfortable with it so no one can snatch it out of your hand. But also don't let anyone know that you have a gun. Let it be a little sneaky surprise that you have, but you're not going to be flashing it to your clients or anything like that. But if you need it, you got it. In a case where you're showing a house, I recommend that you get there at least 15 minutes early so that you can properly back in the driveway. I say back in the driveway, but if here's the garage, you want to leave some space so that you're face toward the street and that you could just literally pull off, and that you can pull left or right and you have no blockage to you. Make sure that a car can't get in front of you in the driveway, that you're right there by the end of the driveway, or that you could at least jump a curve and turn any way that you need to, and you won't be blocked in. You can literally pull a Louis and then go ahead and be free. If you don't feel comfortable with the gun, as I was saying earlier, I would say carry bear spray or pepper spray. I've heard that bear spray is a little bit stronger and could potentially help protect you a little bit more than pepper spray. But if you have pepper spray, that's great. I recommend that you always carry a taser with you. You can get them on Amazon. I'll actually put some links down there to some safety measures of products that I have from Amazon, my Amazon link. Use it, I get a small commission, buy me a coffee, and then you get protection for you and your family so that you can get more checks and have more safety. There are a lot of other tips that I'd like to share, but I'm just going to summarize basically what we've gone over. So basically, get there early, make sure that you are able to pull in the driveway if there is one, or park on the street. Make sure that you can lock all the doors, unlock all the doors. That's another tip. I feel like you should get there, like I said, a little bit early so that you can kind of know the house and look at the layout. Hopefully you've seen the house before, but if you haven't, make sure that you're familiar with everything. Make sure that you have your proper protection, and make sure that you've already done your research on the client before so that you have their ID and that you've shared your location. Make sure that you set up your settings on your phone so that in an emergency, if you have to use that little SOS emergency, that it's set up already. And then when the customer arrives, make sure that you make eye contact. Like I said, make sure that you know what they look like, be able to give a description of their weight, eye color, hair color, what they're wearing, and their license plate. But when you're walking through the home, it depends on the style that you have with showing a house. I'm actually, I let the client look. I will be in the vicinity of where they are, but I always allow the client to go first. So if they go up the stairs, I let them go up the stairs first. I always say after you. And if they want to go down the basement, I'll allow them to look in the basement, and I will be on the main level. But I do not recommend that you go into any basements, and I don't recommend that you stand in front of any closets. We don't want you to be cut up in a body bag. Okay, that's worst case scenario, not funny. But, I have seen in the news these things happening. So I do have to say this, and I want you guys getting checks and to be live for future transactions and your family and friends to enjoy all the good things in life. I would say if you don't have any self-defense training, that you would take a self-defense course at the very least. I know that there are some self-defense courses through the city. Sometimes they have some pretty affordable courses that you could take in person at local gyms, community colleges, but you also want to look online. There could be a self-defense course that you can take even on YouTube that's affordable or even free, and at least it will give you some knowledge of things you can do with your body to help protect yourself in a situation. So yeah, I would say also that in any situation, if it feels uncomfortable, use your gut. There are plenty of people who didn't want to trust what they were feeling, and now they're not here with us. So use your gut to see if a situation is kosher. And if it doesn't feel good, there's nothing wrong with making up an excuse and saying you have another appointment and that you'll follow up with them later to see if someone else can take them out. Make up an excuse, say anything, but it's less important to be polite in a moment where your gut is telling you to get out of the situation than to stay in a situation and potentially get harmed. So there was a client that I met, didn't know him, didn't do any research on him. It was a lead through one of the, I bought a lead, and it was through one of the big companies who give leads. It was a bum lead. Turns out he really didn't have the money. He said his family had it and they had a settlement coming in, all the excuses. But if they don't have a hard copy of the pre-approval letter and that you haven't verified it, I've also received a pre-approval letter and I verified the bank, and the bank was a fake person. It was not a real bank. It was not a real lender. The number didn't work. The number and name that came up was not the lender that was on the pre-approval. So that was very scary. Got that one off of Facebook. But back to this lead I got from one of the leading companies that gives leads. The guy was like, well, let's go together. I want to see this house over in this area. It's really close, but I want to stop at my house first. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot my door opener. I have to go back and get it. Jumped out and got back into my car and said, I'm going to see you later. I'll call you later. I did not feel right about that situation. It was stupid of me to get in that situation, to get in his car. He was driving a nice car. He was young, and you just don't know who people are. You can't just assume because he has a nice car, because he looks a certain way, that he is not a murderer. So just don't do the situations and get yourself in situations that I did. What else can I say? I mentioned the taser. If you want to use a knife or bear spray, do that. Take a self-defense class. Make sure you check the pre-approval. And always just be aware of your surroundings. Like I said, make sure you know his license plate, take a picture, his or her license plate, take a picture. I have watched way too many crime stories, and literally, what happened? This couple was working with this guy who did real estate, actually. He was the realtor, and they were the cleaning crew. So they were helping him clean houses. And they had done a couple different projects with him, cleaning up houses like normal. And then all of a sudden, this realtor took them to this very secluded house. And it had a lot of acreage and it had a fence. And they followed him in, I believe, into the house to clean it. And the realtor closed the gate behind them. And they didn't think why is he closing the gate behind? This is a huge house. There's no houses around. And the realtor ended up killing the boyfriend and tying up the girl. The girlfriend and her boyfriend was dead. And I think that she lived, but the boyfriend obviously died. But it's like, even if you know someone a little bit, like on Facebook, and you think that you trust them, you've done a few jobs with them, it doesn't matter. You always have to feel like in your gut if this is a good situation. And I just don't know how far you trust people. Like, okay, I've done jobs with him, he's paid us before, this should be successful. I don't know, this place looks a little weird, I don't feel comfortable, maybe we should turn around. I don't know, you have to trust yourself, but these things unfortunately do still happen in our world, and we just have to be like extra careful. So I want you out there, I want you making money, and if you follow these tips, you will be safe and you will live to your next closing. All right, I'll talk to you soon in the next video.